Hello, kia ora. I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us for our long-range forecast through until the Easter weekend. Now, I had plans to kind of do a forecast that showed you the week building up to it and the long weekend next weekend, but the computer modeling is flip-flopping for the long weekend, which doesn't surprise me really, because you could ask me what Easter is going to be like in 2035 and I would still say the same thing. It's usually split in half, with one half of the weekend sunny and the other half unsettled. So let's have a look and see what is going on, and the build up to Easter next weekend is actually pretty quiet in our part of the world. So we've got the drama of the low pressure zone moving away from us. That's what brought the wind, the rain, the isolated tornado. That is moving away out to the southeast, and so behind it we've got clouds and a few showers. Not all of those clouds have showers with them, but we've got a few showers moving into both sides of the country, really, west and east, and of course southern areas too. Let's have a look at the situation going in towards this evening. So we've got this big high pressure zone out around the Tasman Sea. That is connecting to another high pressure zone out over the Indian Ocean. Read a story today about there's been some flooding through the outback of New South Wales 2 weeks after the rain that brought the flooding around Queensland. So that's kind of an interesting slow journey there. But we don't have much in the way of flooding or rain at the moment with that big high on its way in. Here is the 7-day rainfall. Departure from normal, brought to you by resupply.co.nz. The reds and the pinks mean drier than usual for this time of the year. White shading means it is about normal rainfall. And the blue areas, like you see to the north and maybe a little bit in the southwest, those are the areas that are leaning a bit wetter than average. So a big area of dry weather coming out of Australia and across the Tasman Sea, where it does break up to some degree. But let's have a look at the forecast. So from noon Thursday tomorrow through till noon Thursday next week, just before we go into Easter, this high pressure belt is the dominant force. But we are watching what is going on in the tropics over the coming week, because there is a lot of energy up there and we're still in the cyclone season for the rest of this month. We've also got some storms down around Antarctica where they should be, and the windy westerlies, they're mostly south of the country, just brushing Stewart Island, maybe some parts of Southland, and obviously the Chatham Islands there. So not much going on Thursday. Might be a couple of isolated showers still left over. At this time of the year, a southwesterly flow generally brings a few showers to the western side of New Zealand. Even sometimes when it says a sunny day, 10% chance of rain and a little shower at some point. That's that 10%. So as we go into the weekend, this weekend, we do see a small bit of low pressure kind of to the north of New Zealand. We've got the high pressure zone out to the east. That is a strong high, but there could be a few showers coming into the north of the country. That's why you might be seeing that rain shower icon in your forecasts. Also a few showers down around Fiordland, maybe parts of Westland. Not much though, and you've still got that northwesterly flow. That's helping to keep temperatures up in many eastern areas this weekend. There'll be that kind of westerly flow as we go into at least the Friday portion and Friday night and the start of the weekend. As we go through to Saturday, those westerly winds might change a little bit in some areas. You can see a bit of a southerly flow coming through for some parts of the south here. Further to the north could be more of a east to southeasterly flow. So we've got different wind directions, including a westerly still carrying on around Southland. But the areas of wet weather to the north, not very much at this stage. High pressure either side of New Zealand, helping to keep most of that away, but that's just that weak spot in between the two where you do see a few showers, and that could move around left and right a bit there on the screen. It could move a little closer into Bay of Plenty, Coromandel, or it could go further out to sea and only really be that East Cape area. So keep an eye on it if rain matters to you. Mostly dry in the South Island. You might get a light shower with that southerly. Into Sunday, not a great deal of change. This is hard work for me now, by the way, because these maps, as you're going to start to notice, don't change, and I'm trying to find stuff to talk about. Couple of showers in the eastern North Island, that's about it. Sunny weather for Waikato to Taranaki with that southeasterly, and at the other end of New Zealand, we've still got a west to northwesterly flow. That's helping to lift temperatures up a little bit for you for this time of the year. All right, Monday, something to talk about. A cold front, not much of one, but a brief cold front coming through. High pressure to the east, west, and southwest. So there's a lot of high pressure around us. That front, that cold front, not going to go very far up the country. Not as big as the colder change that we had this week, yesterday, Tuesday. Not as big as that one. So we'll see some rain and showers, and yes, maybe a dusting of snow along the mountains and ranges of the very south. And then we get to Tuesday, that's the cold front. So it's been pushed eastwards because the high is bulldozing it away to the east. So we've got a bit of a southeasterly flow coming in, a couple of showers, pretty dry. Wednesday, Still got high pressure over us. Still trying to find stuff to talk about. Couple of showers in the east here. But the low to the north, this is where things get a little more interesting going into the long weekend. So all the low pressure up here to the north is kind of consolidating into one spot, pretty much directly north of New Zealand around Vanuatu, New Caledonia, with a big powerful high centered over the South Island of New Zealand. That makes for a squash zone. That's the windy easterlies. So that'll be blowing all the way to Australia and also around the top of New Zealand. So if you're in a tent, although you may not be by the middle of next week, but maybe by the end of next week, just be aware it's going to get windier as that low pressure comes down. So now we're getting into the really long range stuff, the stuff that has been flip-flopping. So we have to wait for another update tomorrow to kind of lock this in a bit more. But we have been seeing these systems coming down here. So this low pressure zone running into the high pressure belt around us. So those easterly winds start to tilt northeasterly. Still about the same strength. Doesn't look overly stormy, but again, if you're in a tent or an awning, you will feel those winds at the top of New Zealand. Now we go to Good Friday. So this is the computer modeling that has flip-flopped, because yesterday it showed this high pressure zone further back here and quite a big southerly flow coming into the country. The day before that, it showed this model. So I think the computer modeling is still trying to work out the timing of that high going from west to east, along with the timing of that low dropping from north to south. So two moving parts, trying to get the timing of that this far out, that's the hardest work. But we are monitoring this. Going into Easter weekend, we may well be seeing a low in the north. The European modelling showed it more to the east, but also that high pressure zone further back over towards Tasmania. So these big parts, when you're going out further and further, you can see that there's a big low or a big high, but the placement, the timing, that's the part that gets harder the further you go out. So I've lost a little bit of confidence in the modelling because of the flip-flopping we've just seen, but we'll keep a very close eye on this going into the next couple of days. We will have more details for you tomorrow, Thursday, as we take a longer range look at the Easter weekend, which is coming up a week and a half from now. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you again on Thursday.